Okay, hello people. Sorry, there's some light on the subject here. I'm not the subject. Actually, Spain is the subject.
Women,
Whoops.
the time
This
that
stupid.
the bodies
Hold on, I gotta turn this off again.
due to the deterioration of the bodies,
Let's
Barker
see if
could
I
make
can do
only a
so.
cursory examination at the site.
There. So, I just made a. My balding head. Um, I just made a comment on Facebook. I love Spain. It's my home. When I turned 18, I had to decide if I was going to be an American or a Spaniard. My choice was to be a Spaniard. My choice was to go back home. But I had no way of getting there. I had no way of buying an aeroplane ticket or a ticket on passage on a ship or, whatever. So I was pretty much stuck here. Now, I wasn't stuck here. I was stuck in Texas. Okay? I hate that place. I love New Hampshire. Look, I've lived in the United States for I don't know how many decades now, but quite a few. And before moving to New Hampshire, I didn't want to live here. I wanted to go home. But now I am home here in New Hampshire. I cannot live in the South. It's too hot and every other thing about it. I love, and it's not just New Hampshire. It's Troy, New Hampshire. It's the people here. So anyway, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is what's going on over there right now. And let me say that back in my day, for those who don't know, there are many types of Spaniards, but for this discussion, that's not a discussion. This is a monologue. Um, for this monologue, for this situation, there are two types of Spaniards: the old, which is what I am, and the new. In a way, I feel like a new Spaniard because I've been gone so long. But on the other hand, I know I'm not because I'm from the Franco era, and it was a good day if you were alive. If you were alive, it was a good day if you weren't in prison. It was a good day if you weren't being investigated. If you were being investigated, they were probably going to consider you guilty. They didn't have to find you guilty. I mean, officially, there was no death penalty under Franco, but a lot of people got killed. They put people up against walls and shot them. You could lose your job. You say the wrong thing. You look at somebody the wrong way. I saw an interview with a communist. I believe he was from Madrid, and this was in the 80s or 90s. I don't remember if it was the 80s or 90s. And he was on permanent house arrest. He was allowed to leave his place once a week to go get groceries. Now, where he got his money from, I don't know, because he wasn't allowed to work because he had to stay in his house all the time. And I'm not a communist. I deplore communism. I deplore any form of state theism. I believe in liberty and just people being free and being able to make their own choices. But this old boy, he said he knew who was watching him. He said they made no secret of it. He looked out his window every day. There's some guy standing there at the street corner with a business suit on, looking at his apartment or house or whatever it was, probably an apartment. And there was a schedule. This guy would leave and another guy would show up, or another guy would show up and then the other guy would leave, and then they would follow him whenever he left the house. Like I said, he was only allowed to leave to go buy groceries. And I have not been back. but I have seen film, video, moving pictures of Spain, and it's totally different. Everything's clean, uh, things are new, modern. When we lived there, it wasn't like that. Things were dirty. People were unhappy, very unhappy. People were scared. Now, my understanding is Guardia Civil, you still need to, watch your step, but they don't do the things that they did in the 40s, the 50s, in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and 70s. And I have seen footage, it was from Sevilla. There were demonstrations, believe it or not, and this was when Franco was still alive, but toward the end of his life. And the police or policia are how do you say, firing like they're rifle grenades, but I guess they were tear gas or something, or flashbang grenades or something like that. And they weren't right there in front of the protesters. They were like on the next street over, and they were firing these things over buildings. Now, in my day, when I was there, you weren't stupid enough to do what they were doing. You didn't demonstrate. You didn't protest. You kept your mouth shut. You kept your eyes down. You never saw anything. Today, look, if the people in Barcelona want to be independent, if they want their own country, that's fine. I don't mind. It's just, come on, people. Remember, it wasn't that long ago when we had a dictator. It wasn't that long ago. He only died in 1975. That really wasn't, depending on your age. Okay, depending on your age. I know there are billions of people that have been born since then, but I have a book. We have a book in the living room. It's a history of Spain. And it is not kind to Franco. I have no idea how my parents got it. This is not the one they had. I had to replace it because I lost my copy in the fire. But I have no idea how my parents got it. Because that kind of book was not allowed. If anything was critical of the Franco regime, it could not be sold. It was not allowed, period. If you were caught with it, you'd be punished. Either you go spend some time in prison or jail, or just kill you, which was very common back then. Like I said, they had no death penalty officially, but a lot of people got killed, and usually by the Guardia Civil, or usually by the Guardia Civil. And for those who don't know, Guardia Civil means civil guards. This is an old thing. I have a hat in there, a Guardia Civil hat. Yeah, yeah. My parents knew the comandante for the district, Colonel Rafael Serrano. He was the comandante for the district. That was a powerful man, a scary man, very scary man. I guess if they knew him, I knew him, or I knew who he was. I mean, I met him. But yeah, I support the English being forced out of Gibraltar. At one point, that was going to go to World Court. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem to have gone there. But to me, it doesn't have to go to World Court. Madrid, all they have to do is say, England, get off the rock. It's not yours. If you don't, we're going to give you 24 hours to start making arrangements to get your butts out of there. And if you're not out, too bad, we're moving our troops in. That's all that has to be done. You don't have to go to World Court. You just take back. It's Spanish territory. It belongs to Spain. The English have no business there. Just move them out. Just move right into our own country, because Gibraltar belongs to Spain. Period. With a name like Seamus, that's not my birth name. But I actually have two legal names, believe it or not. I have two legal names. I was Jaime back then. I was Jaime. But today I go by Seamus. But anyway, I just don't like to see violence over there, and I'm afraid that what's going on in Barcelona and that area, and Madrid is going to send in troops. Madrid is going to send in the Guardia Civil. There's going to be violence. It scares me. What I want to see for Spain is peace, because I'm from that era where it was violent. I'm from that era where it was scary, and I don't want to see Spain going back to that. I don't want to see Spanish killing Spanish. I don't want to see that. We had a great victory a few years ago in World Cup. Okay, I was still living in San Antonio at the time, San Antonio, Texas. And I was like, you should have seen me. You should have heard me. You could have heard me from one side of the country to the next, you know. And World Cup's coming up next year. Yeah, I like footy. But you know, there's the curse, and you know, but anyway. So I don't want to see a return to what it was. If people can understand that, I don't want to see that. I want to see Spain continuing to progress. I don't want to see Spain fall backward. And that's what's scaring me right now, is that with what's going on, that things are progress that has been made is going to be damaged. It's going to be destroyed. And I don't want that. If you can't see it, I'm tearing up. Because this is where I'm from. You know, it's where I'm from. No, my parents weren't from Spain. My dad was Canadian. My mother was from the United States. Actually, my sister is also not in the United States. But I'm from Spain. That's all it is. That's all there is to it. And I don't want to see... I don't like seeing Spain divided, first of all. But more importantly, I don't want to see violence back in the country. It was very violent and scary under Franco. I don't want to see us going back to that. Not in any way, shape, or form. And to me, when you have one Spaniard going against another Spaniard, we need to be united. If the people in that region want to separate, fine. I don't have a problem with that. I don't really like it because I want to see us united. But at the same time, you know, I believe that people have the right to self-determination. And if that's what they want, if they want to be separate from us, then they can be separate. They're still my brothers and sisters. Pure and simple. They're still my brothers and sisters. I'm from Cadiz, from Andalusia. It's interesting because, you know, Andalusia, or Cadiz, my hometown, used to be a Celtic city. Of course, that was before anybody living today was thought of by anyone. You know, we're going back many, 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 many centuries. We're going back to before the Common Era, I believe. But Cadiz is one of the oldest continuously inhabited communities on the planet. And for good reason. Look at the location. The Mediterranean, the Atlantic Ocean, Africa, Europe, Asia, because Israel, Lebanon, most of Turkey, that's Asia. So you would have had access to the ancient trade routes, like the spice routes, or the whatever, I forget what they call them now. So it would have been a fantastic location, just fantastic. No, I mean, so no wonder it's been inhabited for so long and continuously. Um, Columbus sailed his last voyage to the Americas from my hometown. From my hometown. People used to live in the walls. I don't think they live in the walls of the old city anymore, but they used to. Maybe they still do. So that's how bad things were back then. People didn't have money. If the Franco regime, if you piss somebody off, you lose your job. Sometimes that was worse than being killed, because then what do? You have a family to feed. You have to clothe your family, feed your family, clothe and feed yourself, and you couldn't do it because it was essentially a crime to hire you, because if they hired you, then they got in trouble. They either got killed or got sent to jail or prison, or someone else did. They used the Guardia Civil used to arrest my dad. They used to arrest him on a regular basis. It was all for a bribe. No, but like I said, my parents knew Colonel Serrano. So my dad's secretary, because they would do it like at his office, and my dad's secretary, and I don't remember her name, would call Colonel Serrano's office in Sevilla and say, they just arrested him, and his office would call the Guardia Civil there in Cadiz and have him let go, but without having to pay the bribe. But he bribed him. He got a bottle of good American whiskey. Good American whiskey. And he would give to the Guardia Civil, each one that worked there in Cadiz, for Christmas every year. And that kept him safe for a while. Kept the whole family safe for a while. But my mother stayed at the apartment most of the time, so she didn't go out. So she wasn't, she wasn't as much at risk as, say, my dad, who had to, because he was in charge of several different ports, 5 different ports. Cadiz being the major port. Another thing about Cadiz, for a reason for it's continuous habitation, is salt. Now, it's been a while, but last time I looked on Google Satellites, they were still farming salt right there as you go off from the island to the mainland. They farm salt. I would love to get some of that. I would love to go back and visit, but I don't know what the law is today. It used to be that if you were born there and you returned, and for some reason the government wanted to keep you in Spain, you had to stay. You couldn't leave. I don't think I have any talent or resource or anything for them to keep me. I don't know. I'm too old for military service, plus I physically couldn't do it anyway. I have hearing loss, significant hearing loss. I have the surgeon said it's partial paralysis. So I don't think they're going to want to keep me. I'm not a millionaire, so there's no reason for them to keep me. So I'm not. It would be a concern, but not a worry. It would be a concern that they might try to keep me, but not. I wouldn't worry about it. And if they did, you know what? There are ways to get out. Okay, it's not. Spain isn't what it was back then. I could get on a fishing boat and go across the strait to Africa. I could get on a fishing boat and go to Italy or I could walk across into Portugal. I could walk across into France. I walk into Andorra, and then come back to the United States. You know, hey, what am I? You know, but it really bothers me when I see Spain divided. I don't like seeing us divided. I want to see us united and free. That's all I had to say.